First off, I'd like to say that I think our team's really excited about playing. They're really tired of practicing, and I hope that they understand how good Eastern Illinois is. We've watched a lot of film. In fact, we've watched all their games from last year, and they try to run a play every 13 seconds. They move the ball up and down the field. They score points. I just hope our team realizes how good they are so they come prepared.
Coach, you've been doing this a long time, obviously, but you mentioned your team is excited. Do you still get excited for the first game?
I get nervous. Yeah.
Why?
Because you don't know, when you go in the first game, you don't know what you have. You can guess on what you have, but you don't have any idea how your team's going to perform until they go against somebody else.
Any guess on how your team will perform?
No, I don't guess. I mean, 3 weeks ago, I thought we were going to have a really good football team. Now we've practiced for 3 weeks, and now I'm nervous.
What are you most nervous about? Like any position specifically?
No specific position. Just how the team reacts. I mean, we've got some experienced players. We have players that have played well in the past, but a team has to gel. Offense has to match the defense. Special teams have to be good. You have to have a whole team effort to win games.
Have you decided on your cornerback rotation yet?
No. I think you'll find out game day.
Does that affect how you practice though, in terms of like, are you gonna have the same guys going with the ones and the same guys going with the twos, or?
No, they alternate constantly during practice, so you never know which group they're going with.
Do the guys know?
No, they don't know.
They don't even know.
They don't even know. No.
Do you know at this stage?
No.
Coaches,
I mean, we play 22 to 24 kids on defense anyway, and they substitute themselves. So those kids are used to not knowing who's starting and how many plays they're going to play because they're not told until Thursday before the game on the rotation.
Then they substitute themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So they can run on and off.
Mm-hmm. They have a rotation period of number of plays. One guy's in for 4 plays. He goes out. The other guy comes in for 4 plays. Now, in a lot of cases, it's 6 to 2, 6 plays to 2 plays, or something like that. It's all determined before the game, and the kids substitute themselves.
So, have you ever had an instance where like maybe there were kids who didn't follow the rotation, or are they all pretty good about that?
They're all really good about it. The only thing that messes up the rotation if somebody gets hurt, then you have to readjust it on the sidelines.
It's like a hockey game.
I don't know anything about hockey.
That's what they do.
Oh.
They shift change so many times.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Coach, is Dan Kaufman expected back?
Yeah, he's back. He's practiced the last 2 days.
And are you going to run him with the twos, or is Dontrell proved that is worthy of?
Dontrell's running with the twos. But Dontrell's also our fifth, our swing defensive end, too. So if something happened in the defensive end position, Dontrell will go back out the defensive end, then Kaufman will go in at nose.
And how about Seamus? Is he kicking?
No.
Still a thigh?
No. The other guys are better.
But he's been kicking at practice though.
Oh, he started kicking Sunday.
So have you decided on the specialist yet, or is that going to come later in the week?
As far as you mean, who returns kicks and all that?
Well, like who's going to handle field goals and punts and?
Wes Fear's going to handle field goals and kickoffs. Joel Alisi's punting.
Coach, are you using the 4th down card again this year?
I have it in my back pocket. I'll have it in my. I don't right now, but I will have it in my back pocket. Sure.
Will you be using it?
It depends on the feel of the game. I used it some last year, and I didn't use it sometimes last year. But I still have it, yes.
A little off topic. This stuff with Johnny Manziel that's been going on, autographs and that sort of thing. Him aside, what's your thought on the fact that these kids can't get any money for their autographs?
I have some personal feelings on that, but it's not my position to say in the position I'm in right now. We go by the NCAA rules. Whatever the NCAA says, that's what we abide by. And my personal opinions have nothing to do with that. You gotta go by the rules that are set out.
I'd be interested in your personal opinion if you'd like to share it.
And in a private conversation, we can talk about my personal opinion, but not in public.
What do you, have you had conversations with your players since this has happened to remind them what the NCAA rules are?
We meet with our players every year before the season starts and go over NCAA rules as well as team rules, team expectations. We do that at the beginning of every fall camp. We do it at the beginning of every second semester too.
Have you had any reinforcement of these rules at all? I mean, just reminding guys about this since this Manziel thing?
In this department, those rules get reinforced daily by all the people that they come in contact in this department, our academic department, our trainers, our equipment people. They're constantly reminded of the rules.
When you played, did anybody offer you money for your autograph?
No. I'll take it now, though.
Coach, do you know Dino Babers personally?
Yeah, a little bit. Not. I mean, we're not real close, but we've met each other a few times, and I know I know he played at Morris High School, and I know he played at Hawaii and coached at several places. Yeah, he's a really good coach and has moved up in the coaching ranks. And did a great job last year. First time head coach, first year, he takes a team that was dead last in the league and wins the league. That's a pretty good job of coaching, if you ask me.
How sort of similar is his offense to the one that Barles runs at Baylor?
Yeah, they're almost exactly the same. And everybody got to see Baylor in the Holiday Bowl. UCLA didn't slow them down a bit.
What do you see from their quarterback?
A very efficient quarterback that completes over 60% of his passes, throws very few interceptions, and a lot of touchdown passes.
Coach, is there an aspect, you mentioned you're nervous because you don't know what's going to happen. Is there an aspect of your team that you're most confident in? Like, I know I'm not going to have to worry about this part of my team.
Nah, it's a personality. They worry about everything.
Rocky, you guys have a pretty big O-line this year, but, earlier in the fall, we talked to Coach Schmidt, and he said, they're a really athletic, bunch of guys. Is this one of the more athletic offensive lines you've had since you've been here at San Diego State?
I think it's a combination of the last 4 years of recruiting. I mean, we want size. On both sides of the ball, we'd like size, but we try to go with athletes before size. The difference is on the defensive line is that they have to run fast. Offensive linemen don't have to run fast. They have to be very athletic. They have to be able to move their feet and shuffle their feet and work in a 3 or 4 yard square. So they have to be really athletic at what they do. Offensive linemen have to have some bulk to them so they don't get just run over in pass protection, where defensive linemen don't have that. But we always, on both lines of scrimmage, we look for athletes first, and the size factor is a secondary deal. I mean, one of our offensive linemen came here as a tight end. Our best offensive lineman came here as a tight end. He weighed 225 pounds when he walked in. And he caught some passes and played as a freshman. So he's a pretty good athlete. And he got to be over 300 pounds, and now he's a tackle.
And so, moving over to the defensive line, you just mentioned how, these guys are more equipped to, handle speed and are faster than, lumbering big defensive linemen. How much of an advantage is that, going up against an up-tempo offense like Eastern Illinois compared to, like, if you had, like, big lumbering, like, 300-plus pound linemen?
I don't think it has anything to do with it. I think it has to do with how good a shape they're in. Because some of those great big guys that the NFL plays with sometimes can just go straight over an offensive guard or something, and they get great pressure on the quarterback. The difference is when you pursue, like on screens and stuff, you ought to be a quicker, faster guy should be able to get in pursuit better and tackle screens or backs out of the backfield a little bit easier. But up-tempo is all about conditioning. If you can play at full speed the whole time. And big guys, if they're in great shape, they can play at speed the whole time. They can play hard the whole time. So it's all about conditioning.
And are you happy with like the conditioning level of your defense heading into?
I don't think because when you practice against scout teams and all those sort of things, the scout team actually has to look at a card so they run the play correctly. And so you don't get any feel for if you're able to handle the up-tempo stuff.
Anything else?
Does
for
it
Coach?
does it help that they've lost 4 of their 5 top receivers from last year? I mean, what does that? I guess does that influence the way you play them as a defense?
I don't think it makes a darn bit of difference because I think a couple of the guys that are starting, I know one of them for sure was a backup last year and is probably the fastest guy on their team because he caught over, I don't remember how many passes he caught, but all of them were over. His average was way over 20 yards. It was 22.5 yards per catch. He's now starting. One of the guys that didn't play last year is a transfer from Baylor that is starting. In fact, the receivers might be better than they were last year.